Good evening. Welcome to our Tuesday night Habits of Health, and I would love to have everybody join us with this 12-week series. This is going to be the second series, and this is going to be recorded. Tonight I have Joanne Brewer and also Kevin Moore, and Kevin is going to give us a little bit of information as far as where he was with his health. And I would love to do a share screen with that and bring up your picture, Kevin. So let me bring that up right now. And if everybody can see that, this is Mr. Kevin Moore, and he's lost 90 pounds. And the gentleman is, if you can't see it with this picture, 7 foot tall. Kevin, tell us about this.
Well, it's kind of funny that picture there was the summer before I started on the program. I was about 300 pounds. I had a whole bunch of problems happening because of it. I mean, I couldn't barely bend over to tie my shoes. I had sleep apnea. I was diagnosed with sleep apnea with a CPAP machine, which, I had to get used to sleeping with that. I had acid reflux, all kinds of problems, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, just all sorts of problems. I had lower back and hip pain. They were so bad that I couldn't barely walk sometimes. Go to the grocery store with my family. I could barely walk in the store, and then I had to get into those riding carts because I couldn't walk around very much. It was really hitting me bad. The weight was really hitting me bad and really worrying me. I have 2 kids, and they had already lost their mother to poor choices. So I was really worried. I didn't want them to lose me too. And I was always wondering, what am I going to do? And I looked around, tried to do things on my own, exercising, trying to be more active, playing basketball again, and everything. But I just never found anything that worked right. And then I had a friend of mine who got on the program, and I hadn't seen him for a while. And next time I saw him, he posted pictures and everything on his Facebook. And I saw him. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And everything. So he's like, "Well, got on the program, and here's the number of the lady who helped me get on it." So I called up Joanne there and told her my story and everything, and then she got me on the program. And after I lost all the weight from the program, everything's great. I'm a Head Start teacher, so I can play with my 3 to 5-year-olds, including my own 2 kids who a little bit older now, but I could still play basketball with my son. And instead of riding the handicap cart at Walmart, I'm pretty much running down the aisles with my kids. I don't have to sleep with the CPAP machine anymore. I don't have lower hip and lower back pains. I went to my doctor, and after losing weight, and he said that I had the blood pressure of an active teenager again. So, everything has changed, and it's totally changed my life. My kids are able to wrap their arms around me all the way, where they couldn't do it before. So, it's wonderful.
It's obviously a life change for you, and Kevin, that's a wonderful story. I think it's beautiful that you've made some changes in your life, and that you are now healthy again. So thank you so much for sharing that. Joanne, I would love to have you tell us about the Habits of Health now. Joanne is a certified health coach as well. And she's going to be presenting the Habits of Health class tonight. So Joanne, I'm going to go ahead and start this. So if you would like to, please come on in and take a look at this.
Okay, well, welcome everyone to the Habits of Health class. This is really exciting because, one thing Kevin didn't share with you, he's now playing basketball, and that was something that he wasn't able to do before. So that's pretty exciting to have him do other activities that he was limited to. So I'm excited that I was a part of that journey to get him healthy. So, you know, the habits of health, you know, are just really, it changed my life. And I know that it's going to change your life. So I would really hope that all of you that are actually on the line and actually viewing this, that you do have the book, the Dr. Ray's Habits of Health, because it's the textbook for coaches like myself. We use that to actually share with our clients, and you know, we actually become the book. And we're hoping that our clients will eventually want to have the book and actually take it upon themselves to read it. But the Habits of Health, Dr. Ray's Habits of Health, is a textbook, and you can move around in it. You can have a lot of great information as you need it. You don't have to read it from chapter to chapter. So I know I'm looking at this here, and Rick, I can only see part of it because of the picture. Our picture's to the side, as I want to go ahead and read it, and I can't read it right now. Can we move the pictures? That would be great. Okay, because I can't see it to the side. Can you hear me?
That would be a problem with your computer. Then you'll have to move over your picture just a little bit.
Okay, I'll just see if I can move them over a little bit. Okay, because I wasn't able to actually read that quote, and I really would have liked to read it. So
okay,
yeah, but I'm not. If I'm trying to move them.
Well, let's look at that. It says Ralph Waldo Emerson. He has a quote here, which that which we persist in doing becomes easier. Not that the task itself has become easier, but that our ability to perform it has improved.
Oh yeah, and you know, that's it. You know, we just need to perform. We need to look at life differently, and then, of course, as we look at life differently, then other things happen, and our life takes a whole different course. And that's really what Dr. Anderson's Habits of Health will do. And I would tell you, along with Dr. Anderson's A's Habits of Health, you want to pick up the workbook, Living a Longer Life. And that's they really go hand in hand, and you really want to go ahead and use both of them. So as you follow for week 1, we've got the Habits of Health reading. So we actually have got some assignments that you can do. So if you have the workbook, you can see there that we're talking about going into the workbook, completing lessons 1 through 3. And the Habits of Health reading would be, certainly you want to read the foreword in the book, and then you want to start with chapters 1 and 2. And, you know, there is a video series that goes along with this too. There's just so many areas and so many places you can go to get the self-study course. You can get the, all of these are just tools to help you if you really seriously want to take and make a change in your life and in your health. You really want to go in and follow along on this, okay? All right? Okay, so here, and we talk a little bit about, you know, going back to the Stone Age, caveman, you know, our bodies, what they used to be, were hunters and gatherers, and we had to forage for our food, you know, and when we look at this, you know, when people are hunting, just like with the Indians years ago, when they're out and they're out hunters and that, they're very active and they're looking for the next meal that they're going to get. And so things have really changed today, because we just go to the grocery store and get our foods, and so we're not as active as we were back, you know, 10,000 years ago, when we had to go out and forage for our food. And then what happens is, because we're not as active as we were, the body stores, it's designed to store and conserve fuel those times when we can't find food. So what happens with the you know, in the 10,000 years ago, people had to just eat and eat and eat, store the food up, because they didn't know when they were going to find their next meal. We certainly don't have that problems, do we? Because everything these days is supersized, and you know, and so we're in that supersized generation. I don't know you know, if that's good for us, it certainly isn't. Because, well, I'll tell you something, you know, when you go to the restaurants these days, and I mean, you could actually take one meal and make a meal for possibly 4 people out of it. And yet, you know, here we are, we're in this supersized generation, and we're certainly not healthy. So, something that we need to think about there. Okay, it's not your fault being born in a time of physical ease. You know, when we were living 10,000 years ago, we were active, our bodies were burning off the calories, we weren't storing anything, and then all of a sudden, here we come along, we have all these electronic gadgets and stuff that we're using to, I mean, people don't even get up off the couch anymore to go and turn the TV on, they've got a remote control, so all of these things are just really working against us. We're not, that's not how our bodies were, that's not how it was supposed to be. We were supposed to stay active, and we were supposed to, you know, which we're not now. Too many people are really, you know, really sedentary. We call the title that we call that as couch potatoes. What we really want to do is we want to move away from that and start getting active in our lives. Instead of, you know, storing the fats, we want to burn the fat. So how do you manage two competing tendencies here? Instinct to eat whenever you can, and living a longer life. You can't do that. You just can't eat any. You've got to have mindful eating. You really got to stop and think about every time you go to lift your fork, lift your spoon, to put food into your mouth. You've got to really think about that, because, you know, it isn't what's going to give us or help us to have and live a longer and healthier life. And I really think that's what we want to do. I mean, for me at 66, you know, if I go back 10 years to the life that I led, that I would come home from work and maybe sit down and watch TV and, you know, eat my dinner, never even have any activity in that, that's not really giving us that healthier life that we want. And it's not, we don't have to settle for that. We can have more than that. So that really want to think about this. You know, changing your habits, you know. Boy, I'll tell you, this one really, really fits here, changing your habits. Watching TV and getting hungry. I have to tell you that personally, in my house, when my husband and I lost our 185 pounds, one of the things that my husband had a really hard time with was the TV, because every time the TV, the commercials would come on, what were they doing? They were actually advertising McDonald's or all these fast foods, or you want to go get this or whatever. So we actually had to take the TV out of our home so that he didn't associate it. And not only that, we removed the TV, and I'm not saying that you need to do this, but his trigger was watching TV, seeing the commercials, and wanting to eat. And he lost 105 pounds, and he didn't want to put it back on. So we just went ahead and got rid of the TV. Because when you see those kinds of things on TV, you're seeing, you know, you're thinking, well, especially during the commercials, you want to get up in the commercial, you see the commercial going on, and you get up and you think you need something to eat. Well, you don't, but what you see on TV stimulates the action that you're hungry. You're not really hungry because you just ate dinner an hour ago, but you're going to get up anyway, and you're going to go get something to munch on while you watch TV. I mean, it's the cycle. We need to break that cycle, that habit cycle there, and change it. And that, so for us, we just got rid of the TV, and that really worked for us. So changing your habits, you need to identify your foundational choices. What that means is, what do you really want? What do you really want? You know, what do you want? Do you want to be healthy? Well, then you're going to have to make some changes in your life to make that happen. So you got to identify your foundational choices. What is it do you really want that are going to support optimal health? And then you're going to implement a plan to make the changes, just like we did, moving the TV, and so that my husband didn't have that trigger for the food. Another thing that we did too, I want to share with you, is that we had an agreement in our house, and this goes to your fundamental choice. If it was a trigger, we didn't bring the trigger food into the house. We had an agreement that we would go out to have it, which 9 times out of 10 we didn't. So we made this plan, and the plan was that if we wanted it, we had to go out and have it. Like for me, I couldn't have ice cream in the house. I still can't have ice cream in the house. So it's a trigger for me. But the agreement was that if I really wanted the ice cream, I could go out and get it. I just couldn't bring it home. So that was our plan. That's how we made the changes in our life. Become aware of your daily choices and that don't support your health. Think about it long term. And, for me, it's been 10 years. I still don't bring ice cream in the house, but it doesn't mean that I don't go out and have it. Well, certainly I do, but I think about long term. What's going to give me, when I did the program and I lost my 80 pounds, I was 56, I'm 66 now, and by making these type of choices, those fundamental choices there, I've been able to keep my weight off, and I'm going 10 years. And let me tell you something, I've never done that before, but when I really said, what is it that I really want? And when I really made that and implemented a plan to make it happen, here I am 10 years later, and that is something very new to me. Look at when we look at the body and what carrying the extra fat does. I mean, you can see that, Kevin talked about this. He had sleep apnea, which is the obstructed airway there from the fat, the extra 90 pounds he was carrying around. Lots of people have, like Kevin described, is the GERDs, which is the acid reflux. That's again because of the fat. One thing that I'm hearing a lot of my clients tell me now, a new disease that's going on, or however they want to say it, they're telling me, many of my clients are telling me they've been diagnosed with a fatty liver. And you can see there that they talk about liver disease, but a fatty liver, because so many of us are carrying around so much extra weight. Type 2 diabetes, my husband, type 2 diabetes, after he lost 105 pounds, got off of all of his medications and his insulin. So we can really look at what the extra weight is doing to our bodies. Depression, cardiovascular disease. I got off my blood pressure medicine after 30 years. And all of that was because of the weight. So we really need to look at our body, look at what we're doing to our body, and going back to that fundamental choice there and setting a plan of action. We don't have to have these disease processes in our body. We can take control if we know what it is that we really want. And here's the current projection. Here we are, we want optimal health, and then we have the non-sick and our current path of health. Well, I'll tell you something. My current path of health, I was definitely going to be, I was headed in the direction of not optimal health, but non-sick. I was on that path at 56 years old, at 220 pounds. I was headed down that path, okay? And we stopped that, and we turned that around, and I really tell you that, I recently just lost my husband. I'm going to tell you something, that had we not 10 years ago chose the optimal health path rather than continue on the non-sick path, I know that I would have lost him long before this time. So I'm so thankful that we chose a different path, and so can you. You don't have to continue on the path that you are. You can set some plans, and you can turn this around. You don't have to follow the path just because others did it before you. So non-sick, you're neither healthy or ill, somewhere in between, okay? And Dr. A talks about overweight, and you may also be sleep deprived, fatigue. Gosh, think about Kevin with wearing a machine for sleep apnea at night. That's got to deprive him of a good sleep. You've got weak and flabby muscles. You're stressed all the time. All these things, you're just sick. It's not a good, but most people don't know they don't have to settle for that path of being, non-sick. We don't have to do that. We can turn it around. And I don't think that too many people out there really know what optimal health is. And, I know it could be optimal health to you, maybe there's something on your bucket list that you would like to do that you can't do now, so you don't have to settle for less. You can turn your path and go a different way. So, lots of people sick, been diagnosed with, I had high blood sugar, my husband had high cholesterol, he had type 2 diabetes, totally out of control because of our weight. So this is not a place that we have to stay. We can turn it around. Look at Kevin. Kevin lost the 90 pounds and he turned it around. So changing your health, we talked about this, taking the path, taking the path to optimal health. And look, it's not overnight. It's in increments, but every day you do something to change that path. Every day that's going to bring you a healthier life. And here I am at 66, and someone told me the other day that 60 is the new 30. So I'm going to take that, but it's all because we're changing our lives. That's really important. So the habits of health are habits of healthy eating, habits of healthy movement, behavior habits like we talked about, the triggers, making changes there, the habits of support through vitamin and minerals. It's really important that we get the vitamins and minerals. We aren't getting it from our foods, so we need to get it from some source. The habits of reducing inflammation, we need to do that. Do you know that for every 10 pounds that you lose, that you actually are taking 10 pounds of pressure off of your joints? Think about that. If you have 10 pounds to lose, you're taking 40 pounds of pressure. And many of us, but it's not 10 pounds. It's, I'm seeing people 50, 75, 100 pounds. So can you imagine if you've got 100 pounds to lose, and for every 10 pounds, so you're taking 400 pounds of pressure off your joints? Because that in itself is going to reduce inflammation, okay? And so these are some things to think about there and some behaviors that you might want to change. Compounding your daily, again, your effects of your daily choices over time. It isn't that, you can have, a lot of people, they'll say, well, I only have fast food once a week. Well, if you do that, eventually it's going to catch up with you. And, those daily choices that you make over time are going to catch up with you and are going to lead you up the path to be non-sick. And so, even if it's once a week, or even if it's certainly not every day, but, you really want to think about this, that your daily choices over time are going to take it. And that's what happened to me. Okay, so I've always been overweight, unhealthy, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, joints hurt, all of those things. And when we think about it, I think, well, I can have this today. Well, no, because if I have this today, if I do it repeatedly over and over, then I continue on the non-sick path. I don't want that. And what we want is to have our optimal health. So optimal health, this is the thing. This is, optimal to me is, it's different for everyone, all right? And a lot of times I'll say to my clients, what is there something on your bucket list that you can't do that if you had the weight off that you could do? What can you do? Is there something you want to be around for your grandchildren or great grandchildren? What is it that you want that's going to help you to make a decision that you want optimal health? I mean, it's your personal reason, it's your own personal why as to why you want to get healthy. It's the highest degree of health that's possible for you to achieve. But again, it's different. It's different for everyone, okay? So you need to think about this, and you want to think about, well, what is it that you're looking for the future? So if you look at yourself today and maybe you're 100 pounds overweight, and you look at where you want to be, what do you see in your future? That can be what your optimal health looks like. Got to break the chain. Remember, this is the thing I talked to you about, those triggers, where you really have to break the chains, and you really have to look at some of the habits that you have and look to see, are they really good habits, or are they bad habits? How can you break them? For us, it was just not bringing some of the trigger foods into our home and having an agreement to go out and get them. What's yours? How are you going to break the chains of those bad habits that you have? Okay, stop challenging shoes. This is so awesome. We talk about harnessing your habits. Stop is, okay, you're out to the restaurant and you really want to have a dessert. Stop and really ask yourself, what's going on? maybe around a lot of people, maybe the environment you're in isn't that healthy, but stop. Talk to yourself. Do I really want to do it? Do I want to do it? Challenge yourself. You know, what do I want more? Do I want optimal health? Do I want to be healthier? Do I want to lose the weight? And choose. I'm going to tell you something. You don't always make the right choice. But if you could use stop, challenge, and choose, and you could just stop and think about it, do I want it? Don't I want it? Have a little chat with yourself. Challenge yourself. You're not always going to make the right one. And then choose. And I bet you 9 times out of 10, if you do that little chatter to yourself, you're going to make the right choice. So, you know, I use this a lot, and I always tell my clients, you know, when the fork of the spoon goes up to the mouth, and you know it's got something in it that you don't really want, stop and think about it. Is this really going to get you the optimal health that you want? Is it really going to? Is it going to get you your primary choice to get healthy? And if it's not, just stop and have a conversation with yourself. Put the spoon back down and don't eat it. It is possible to do this. Stop, challenge, choose. Stop, challenge, choose. The more you do it, the more it becomes a habit. So harnessing your habits of health, stop, challenge, and choose. Make time your ally. You know, that's really the time that you're listening to the chatter in your head. That's the time that's what we're talking about here. Peer pressure is really, you know, there was a study done that said that a lot of people who are overweight, when they look around, a lot of their friends are overweight. You know, you might look around at your social environment that you're in, and peer pressure. You know, I don't know. The thing that I don't understand, I'm not sure why we in other cultures associate all of our celebrations around food. I kind of think that, you know, that peer pressure sometimes, well, let's go to dinner or let's go out and meet for a drink. I'm thinking, what about let's go bowling? You know, so peer pressure can definitely be an issue. Keep a journal. You know, how you're feeling, what you're feeling, you know, choices you're making. Journals are a great way to go back at the end of a week and look at the emotions that you were dealing with and stuff, so you can break that chain that we were talking about. Okay, exchange a negative for a positive, you know, and avoiding that bad habit and bringing in a new habit. I mean, I'm going to tell you something. This is not easy, but I do know I use stop, challenge, and choose probably every day, and that self-talk to myself, and I've been able to break that chain that has kept me in those bad habits. And I don't always make the right choice, but I'm winning out more times than not. And we can do this and avoid, you know, to break those chains and let those bad habits go. So here we are. We're getting ready to go for next week, and we're going to do the habits of health again. We're going to talk about reading chapters, well, some more reading, week 2. So we're finishing week 1. You've got a few assignments there that you're going to do. If you don't have the Living a Longer, Healthier Life workbook, you really want to get that. And you really want to buy Dr. A's Habits of Health. You want to have that so you can start. You're going to keep up with the chapters and you really get into the content. Because let me tell you, we're just skimming the surface of what's in the book. And you really want to get that so you can kind of stay up. And lesson 5 is great because it's where you actually do a health evaluation of yourself and your health. So that's really an eye-opener, and you can also do that online, the www.habits of health. So you can go there and you can get that assessment online. So I would just tell you from my perspective, after spending a lifetime at the age of 56, being unhealthy, overweight, medicated, all of the things above, this book and living this way and making some of the changes, I'm worth it. And I would hope that you believe that you're worth it too, that you will want to make these changes. And remember what I said, for every 10 pounds you lose, you take 40 pounds of pressure off your joints. You're going to be like Kevin, you're going to get off your medications, the CPAP, all that. I hear it over and over and over of all the things that we can do that we couldn't do. And you really want to get the books. The workbook is excellent to follow right along, and it helps you to break those chains and helps you to move forward. So I would really tell you, you know, next week we're going to have a different presenter, and they're going to take you through the next chapters in the books and reading. So you might want to start and read up on it, right, Rick?
Absolutely, Joanne. I think that one of the most important things that we can do with the takeaway tonight is to actually look at the Stop, Challenge, Choose. And you can implement, it's such a simple process, making the evaluation for you, for yourself, so that you can really make the decision that supports the fundamental health and your choice for optimal health. So I just want to thank you again for participating tonight, everyone that was online, as well as Joanne Brewer, our presenter, and Kevin Moore, who has an awesome story and has improved his life tremendously. So thank you all for showing up tonight. And again, at 6:30 Pacific time next week on Tuesday, we'll have the second series, and we're going to go through week 2. Thank you for coming, and enjoy your evening.
Good night.
Night, night.